everyone. I'm Charlie Danis of Capital Athletics, and joining me now, the junior B-back for the Capital football program, that being Brent Walton. Brent, welcome into the program.
Thanks for having me.
So, Brent, let's go back in the time machine, back to your days in Pickerington. You went to Pick Central High School, one of the top programs here in Central Ohio. How were you introduced to football?
Like you said, Pickering Central is a big program in Ohio, and football in Pickerington is crazy. That's what everybody wants to do. That's what everybody cares about. And I remember I started playing when I was 5 years old, but I was begging to play when I was 4. I remember my mom wouldn't let me, but when I was 5, finally they let me play Pee Wee, and I've fell in love with it ever since.
Pickerington Central, also Pickerington North. So it's an interesting dynamic in
Yeah.
that town. You have two different high schools, right?
Yeah, it's weird because, we all play in the same youth league, and we all play together until 6th grade. So, like, when you're going to junior high and high school, you're playing these huge rivalry games, and the entire town's there with guys that you've been best friends with since you were, like, 5 years old, and you know their entire lineup. So, it's really personal, but it's a fun thing to do.
I'm going to give you an opportunity to reminisce about your prep days here. What were some of the highlights when you were a Tiger?
Probably my junior season was, we went to the state championship game that year, and that whole playoff run was special. That's something I'll never forget. State championship game didn't go the way we wanted it to, but getting there we got to play St. Xavier in the state semifinal, who beat us earlier in the year. Got to upset them, and then we got to play Hilliard Davidson, and we got to beat up on them pretty good. And I got a lot of guys here that are Hilliard guys, so we love to bring that one up and reminisce a little bit.
Now, you and I went to the OAC Media Days earlier this year up at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and that actually turned out to be a pretty special year for you because not only are you a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan, but this was also the same year that Jerome Bettis had recently been enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Talk to me about how he's your favorite player and how you try to pattern yourself off of him.
Yeah, just growing up watching him run the ball. I wasn't a running back growing up. I actually played quarterback, but I was notorious for running the ball anyway from the quarterback position. And even though I was a smaller guy, I always tried to look for contact. And that was the thing I got from watching him. He wasn't a guy who would break a long run and duck out of bounds and just take the yards. He would look back inside and try to go find somebody to hit, and I always loved that. Him and Mike Allstott both, and they would always just be looking for somebody else to go deliver a hit to. You're getting hit the whole game playing running back. Might as well take any opportunity you can to hit people, and I love that. That's something I've always tried to do.
Another thing that stands out to me about Jerome Bettis is how much of a leader he was. Even towards the end of his career, he was mentoring guys who was wanting to take playing time away from him at the running back position. Was that something that you tried to look after when you were observing Bettis?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And that's in both sports, football and lacrosse. I always have tried to be a leader wherever I'm at and anything I'm doing. And that's something, like you said, how he was mentoring guys, trying to take his job. I know I've had this year missing 3-4 games. I spent a lot of time with John, Eaton, and Isaiah, just trying to help them out. I definitely took something from Jerome Bettis, like you said, just trying to help the younger guys. I didn't really care if they were going to all go out and play better than me. And I know somebody asked me when I was hurt, they were like, oh, is it hard watching somebody else do your job? I'm like, no, I want to see, those are my guys. I'm with them every day in the meeting rooms and in practice. I want to go see them succeed.
We're talking with junior B-back Brent Walton here on athletics.capital.edu. So enough about the Pick Central days. What led you to go from Tiger Purple to Crusader Purple?
Well, it was funny. I actually hadn't really thought about Capital a lot at all. I talked to some D2 schools and 1AA schools, and then as I got closer to the end of my senior year, started talking to a lot of other schools in the OAC, and a former coach here, Coach Sherritt, he's the nephew of my high school head coach, Coach Sherritt.
No kidding.
And so he finally was getting in my ear. He helped coach us a little bit my senior year before he took the job here, and get in my ear, begging me to come take a visit. So finally I gave in, not thinking anything of it, and I fell in love with it. I told my parents an hour into the first visit, I was like, this is where I want to go. I want to be a Crusader. I really loved what Coach Candido had planned for the offense and the triple, and having me and be back, my hand in the dirt. It sounded a little weird at first in the three-point stance, but once I bought into it, once I got here, I fell in love with it.
How hard was that transition going to the B-back position when you first got here to Capital?
It was definitely rough at first. I remember our first couple practices in camp, my footwork was all messed up trying to get out of stance. I'd never had to do a mesh like that before where they could take it back out. So definitely the first part of me learning how to play it was a learning experience, but once I got the feel of it, we were going, balls rolling.
This season, you got off to one of the more torrid starts that I have ever seen by any running back that I've ever witnessed. What was clicking in those first couple of games?
Just everybody around me. I mean, we talked about it at media day how the offensive line had all this experience coming back, and we had all these slots that have been playing all these big minutes, and receivers were both our starting receivers are seniors. I mean, that's just at the end of the day, that's what it was. It was guys who knew how to block in this offense, knew how to make opportunities happen, and once I had the opportunity, I just took it and went. I mean, we got some bad dudes on our offensive line, and who have been playing for a while now, and they were younger the last couple of years, and now they've grown up, and all that time in the weight room, it showed this year.
We're talking with junior B-back Brent Walton here on athletics.capital.edu. Well, you got off to that really hot start, but then the injury set in. You suffered turf toe during the Honor Bind game, and you had to miss a couple of games this season. I can't imagine how frustrating that was for you.
I mean, yeah, it was rough. We talked about it before. I started playing football when I was 5 years old. My dad pointed out before that, after the Honor Bind game, he was like, you've never missed a game before in your life for injury. I mean, this is crazy. And it was tough because you always hear people talking about, play every play like it's your last and play like you can't do it. And you don't think about it until you really do have to sit and watch. And watching those 4 games was horrible, just sitting up there and not being able to help my guys at all. But it was also made me, appreciate everything I get to do now. I was talking with a couple guys my age the other day. We got one more game this year and one more season for the rest of our lives, and it's just you got to really take advantage of every chance you get to play this game.
Well, you got a chance to get back onto the field last week against Heidelberg. You go for over 130 yards. You get a couple touchdowns. You must have been on cloud 9 returning to the field, right?
I mean, yeah, it definitely felt good. I would have much rather taken a W, obviously.
Yes.
But I mean, it felt good. I was a little worried about the first series when we were going out there, and I broke one for a little bit on the first carry or first or second carry of the game. I broke, and it just felt good. I was kind of in my head. I kind of had that. Okay, like we're back, we're good, let's go. And all the nerves were gone right after that.
So now you get a chance to end the season on a good note. You get Marietta coming in here. It's been a rough year for the Pioneers, 2-7, a team that you beat last year in a high-scoring shootout that went up and down the field. Your thoughts on this year's matchup with Marietta?
It'll be a good game. I mean, they're definitely physical. They have some size in places on their defense, but I'm excited for the opportunity for us. Like you said, it was a shootout last year, and we think we can have success if we just execute and do our jobs well on offense. But I'm more excited for the opportunity we have for the seniors to end the game, end their season, and their careers at home, and try to send these guys who have been through so much on this program out on a high note.
7 seniors are going to be honored in that game. Yes, it'd be great to send them out with a win. It'd also be great to end this season with a W, momentum heading into next year. How do you feel about the future of this program going forward?
Oh, the future is bright. I mean, we've kind of talked about it the last 3 years. It always just feels like we're young in a lot of places, but this was the first year it felt like we had a decent amount of experience with some of that youth. And I think the key will be keeping those guys around, the young guys that have played so much this year. And I think and that's the other thing, a lot of these young guys that have played, they've told us, we're not going anywhere, don't worry, they're bought in. And I think if we can build on the youth we had with all the experience, we will have come back next year. I mean, we're going to have a pretty nice senior class next year, and we're going to have a lot of guys that are sophomores now. It'll be juniors that played a lot. I think the future is going to be bright as long as everybody just stays committed and stays bought in. All
right. Good luck against the Pioneers, Brent. Thanks for joining us. That was junior B-back Brent Walton. Join us here on athletics.capital.edu for Capital Athletics. I'm Charlie Danis. We'll see you next time.